Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for yet more dedicated legacy action. Today we are playing a Stompy deck, ELDRAZI Stompy. This is a deck that I used to play in paper a while back when it was actually good. It's fallen out of the meta in quite a big way, which is down to a bunch of factors. I think fire design has meant that playing some of these big fatties don't look so good in the face of what other people are doing. Things like Minsk and Boo, for example, is just a massive guy that kind of easily contests with what you've got going on here. The mana base has obviously got no basics in, so in the world of Wastelands you could be in a bit of trouble. So there's lots of reasons why this deck has fallen out of favour, but let's look at what it actually does. So the aim of this deck is to play things ahead of curve because we have Eldrazi Temple, Ancient Tomb and City of Traitors. So we have 8, 9, 10, 11 lands that tap for 2 mana, as well as Eye of Ugin, which also taps for 2. So effectively 14 lands that tap for 2 mana here. This one sometimes taps for 3 if you have Yavimaya in play. So what are we cheating out early with this? Well, we have the classic Chalice of the Void, because why not? But then on top of that, we've got Eldrazi Mimic, which is not exactly an exciting thing, but if you follow it up with a Reality Smasher, then all of a sudden your 2-drop is attacking for 5, and then you're in a pretty good shape. Thought-Knot Seer is probably the best creature in this deck, and it disrupts your opponent's hand. It's a big body, not much else to say about that. We also have Matter Reshaper, which is, again, not a great card, but we need it for this deck. So it's sort of, if we could replace the Eldrazi Mimic and the Matter Reshaper in Eldrazi Stompy, I think it would be pretty viable if we got like some slightly beefier things to go in these slots. But as it is, we'll make do with what we have. We have an Endless one to round things out. This can be paid to be quite large, which also then makes our Eldrazi Mimic large. So this is okay. This is also a nice creature because under a Blood Moon, we can still cast this guy, and we can still cast the Walking Ballista as well, whereas we can't cast the Thought-Knot Seer, Reality Smasher, and Mana Reshaper. The Walking Ballista is quite a good thing to dump your mana into in the sort of mid to late game, although ideally you win this game relatively early on and you don't get in that position. We have a few Dismembers as well for removal. The Once Upon a Time is one to fix it because obviously we've got some really good creatures in here, but we've also got some lesser good creatures, and we kind of need all the pieces to come together. So the Once Upon a Time is supposedly the glue that kind of fits all the pieces together to make it work so that you end up sort of high rolling with your good stuff rather than sort of low rolling with your less exciting creatures. Elvish Spirit Guide, sometimes you need a little bit more mana, so let's have a bit more mana off the Elvish Spirit Guide. We've got 4 Wastelands, so we can play a sort of tempo-y game, get threat down, and then just keep our opponent off land. We have these 4 Cavern of Souls, so our Eldrazi are quite often going to be uncounterable, which is going to be useful. It's going to force removal on them rather than them being able to sort of hope that counter spells will be enough. The search function of the Eye of Ugin is ready going to come in, and normally this deck gets to play 1 or 2 utility lands on top of like the sort of the core, which is all the soul lands and wastelands generally. So sometimes people play an Urborg in this slot, so you have 2 lands that make your Eye of Ugin tap for 3, and the Urborg also makes you cast Dismember without hurting yourself. But this one is running Tower of the Magistrate. So if you don't know this card, it taps for colourless mana, and you can pay 1 and tap it, and target creature gains protection from artifacts until end of turn. So what this is there for is Cauldron Complete. You target the Germ, it gets protection from artifacts, the Cauldron falls off, and then you can keep attacking with your guys. Because Cauldron can easily outpace all of our threats here. So this gives us a way to try and hopefully even that up. So basically we want to put some big monsters into play and smash face. Pretty simple. Sideboard wise, 4 ley lines for graveyard. It's just the best graveyard hate at the moment, and our opponent against us shouldn't have that many turns to answer the ley line before they're dead. So that's why it's very good here. Warping Whale is one that when I've played this deck, it's been alright at times and terrible at other times. So it's got a lot of modes on it, so you can exile a creature with power or toughness 1 or less. You can counter target sorcery spell, or you can create a 1/1 colourless Eldrazi, which you can then sacrifice to add mana with. So this could be good against things like Doomsday and things where they have a specific sorcery they're trying to resolve. It's not really going to help against Supreme Verdicts and such. But it's not a card that looks great, but it fills a role and it's better than some of the things we're boarding out in matchups. Ratchet Bomb, this is probably the only answer we really have to Blood Moon, other than just trying to play through it, which isn't necessarily a great idea. This also has a decent amount of utility against, you know, decks that put out a load of tokens like 8 cast. It can also hit some of their 0 drops like Moxes and things. So this is okay. This is a necessary evil because we are a colourless deck, basically. Source of Spyglass, excellent sideboard card. We're playing this over Pithing Needle because we have the Chalices in the deck, and 2 mana and 1 mana are basically the same a lot of the time due to our mana base. Also, Peeking lets us know if we can deploy more threats and we have to go faster, or if we have to sort of hold back and force them to use sweepers. Thorn of Amethyst, as a 4 of, this is how we try and beat some combo decks. We make all their spells cost more while we just keep playing guys. By the time the answer is they should be dead. All is Dust, in like sort of matchups that could go a bit longer, and we need some sort of way of like clearing the board so all our colourless guys stick around. That's what the All is Dust is for. That's basically it. A relatively linear and straightforward deck today, because I've already recorded another league and wanted to do something a bit easier, so I thought I'd play something that I used to play that is also quite quick. Okay, that's about it. But before we jump into a league, let me just say, if you wouldn't mind scrolling down and hitting that subscribe button, it really helps me out. It doesn't cost you a penny to subscribe to me. It's absolutely free, and it just really helps me out, and it means you don't miss any of my content. I put out 5 videos a week usually, so this way they'll all be saved in your subscriptions tab, so you won't miss any. All right, let's jump into a league. So this is our opening hand. We're on the draw. We can make a turn 1 3-3, a turn 2 3-3, and then a 5-5. That's not that exciting, but I think we've got a lot of good draws we can have as well. We've already got the Smasher, so I think we can probably keep this one, because our guys will be uncounterable. So we kind of hope our opponent isn't a combo deck, although Chrome Mox tends to be in combo decks or Stompy decks, and Misty Rainforest isn't necessarily what you expect. So this is probably going to be, could be Storm deck. Veil of Summer. So this looks like the Epic Storm, which is going to be pretty horrible for us game 1. Game 2, we have the Thorns, which help. Not much else. Okay, so they got a Volcanic Island and they cast a Rite of Flame. Cast a Mishra's Bauble. And a Galvanic Relay, just a little one. Okay, this isn't so bad. So we got here Tiger, Veil of Summer, Bloodstained Mire, Veil of Summer. So that's a very poor Galvanic Relay. So we actually have a chance of winning this game now. Okay, so this is a good one for us here. So turn 1, I think we just play this for 3. Turn 2, we play the Thought-Knot Seer off of this and City of Traitors. We don't have to worry about it being uncountable. And then the next time we play the Reality Smasher. And say, is this enough to beat you? We can yield through this turn because we're just stomping people. So I played the Bloodstained Mire. So that means the Tiger's not going to be in their deck. Because the best 2 lands that this deck operates on is Tiger and Underground Sea. That gives them all of their colours. So this only gives them 3 of their colours, but they do already have the Chrome Mox for the Veil, and they don't really need much beyond the Veil in terms of green. Rite of Flame. Tapping for black. Is this going to be a Wishcore Talisman? Yeah, there's a Wishcore Talisman. Okay, they're activating the Wishcore Talisman. This isn't something we're going to give back to them at any point. Okay, so we're going to spin the wheel with Echo of Eons. So we're going to lose our lovely hand that goes Reality Smasher into Thought-Knot Seer into Reality. We still get to Thought-Knot Seer next turn, if we get another turn. Okay, our opponent can storm us out and kill us with a Natural Tendrils. Some of these decks don't run Natural Tendrils, they have to use Burning Wish for it instead. This could just be a big Galvanic Relay. Ad Nauseam. This has a fail rate, but the Epic Storm is very good at playing Ad Nauseam. Let's have a look. So, the Echo's the thing they got. Down to 9. There is a Burning Wish in there. They need a little bit more red mana here. Bauble, Lines of Diamond, Lines of Diamond, Bauble. Lotus Petal, Mox Opal. No, they should be fine here to just get the Burning Wish. Go and get the Tendrils. They could style me out with a Grape Shot if they've got one in their sideboard, which would be important to know if they have one. So I'm going to let them play it out, because they might try and style us with the Grape Shot. Because most builds don't run them, but some occasionally run a Grape Shot. No, just the Tendrils. Sure. Okay. So, Thorn of Amethyst. We would like these. Sorcerer's Spyglass on Witchclaw Talisman is going to be good. Ratchet Bomb isn't going to do anything. Warping Whale probably not going to do anything either. So these Dismembers are bad. These Once Upon a Times are going to be bad because we're boarding in all these cards that can't be found with them, as well as the ones that make them more expensive. So we've got some creatures here. Like the Walking Ballista is pretty bad. There's an argument for junking the Ballistas over the Once Upon a Times, just because if the Once Upon a Times is in our opening hand, it's really good. It's pretty dead from the rest of it, but we're probably going to have to be winning with our opening hand just because of the nature of the matchup. But we have Chalice and we have Thorn, so we've got some tools here. This has neither of our sideboard cards. We have to mulligan this. Neither of our Chalice nor our... Yikes. See, these creatures are real bad. Okay, so this one we can keep. We have to get rid of some cards. Get rid of this one. We'll probably just get rid of this one. Our problem with this hand is if we play out the Thorn here, this is going to be the most effective because they have a lot of zero drops. But if we want to play the Sorcerer's Spyglass, we're going to have to play the Eldrazi Temple, which means we won't be able to play the Thought-Knot Seer. So we're probably just going to be playing the Thought-Knot Seer. So we're paying 1 mana for a 0 drop here. The downside of Seer Traders is a very sizable downside. Sure, so they're paying 1 for their Mishra's Bauble. They're not cracking it in their turn because I have Thought-Knot Seer in my deck. Yep, so they crack it now. An Eye of Ugin. That's fine for later on. We are in a bit of an awkward situation here. So we can cast the Sorcerer's Spyglass this turn. But I think we should just get the Thought-Knot Seer up and running. So tax for 2. Play this. Tax for 2. Thought-Knot Seer. So what do we have here? Okay, we take the Burning Wish because this is the thing that can get them pulverize. So get rid of that. Keep their cards visible to us. And now we have a clock. So this will take 5 turns to kill our opponent. The Chromox. That cost them 1. They're going to imprint the Rite of Flame on it. Or the Galvanic Relay. Probably has to be the Rite of Flame. No, it's the Galvanic Relay. Interesting. And the Mox Opal. Sure. This is where Ratchet Bomb would look pretty good. But that's only because Thorn of Amethyst is doing work. We can't actually cast any of these spells right now. If we had another mana source, we could cast a Reality Smasher. Which would dramatically reduce the speed of the clock. But this reduces the cost by 2 but doesn't tap for 2. Lotus Petal. Sure. So the reason they play all these things out is because they have lots of ways of gassing back up, whether it's Ad Nauseam or Peer into the Abyss from the sideboard, or if it's Echo Vions. So a mana source here lets us make it a 2-turn clock. A Chalice of the Void. So we tap 1 for this because of this. X is currently 0. This shuts down all of their 0 drops, which is a large amount of their deck. Moxes, Baubles, Petals. A Wishclaw Talisman. So if I can draw a mana source, we can deploy the Sorcerer's Spyglass, or we can deploy the Reality Smasher. I think what we do here is deploy... We can't deploy the Spyglass actually, because this only taps for 1, and we need to pay 3 for the Spyglass. So I think we cast this one. So our opponent has 1 turn here. If our Ancient Tomb was a City of Traitors, we'd have won this game quite some time ago. But now our opponent gets another draw step to try and get back into the game. So we shut off Ad Nauseam as a line. Okay. That worked alright. Do you want Warping Whales? I don't think so. I think we just stick to our plan here and submit. So this gives me Chalice. Chalice of 0 and Chalice of 1 on turn 1. That's pretty good. Have to see how fast our opponent's hand is here. They've mulliganed to 6 so far. Okay, so they kept 6. So hopefully they didn't do too much this turn. Okay, Chromox. Imprinting Galvanic Relay. Okay, so they're just going to spin the wheel and give us a whole new hand. Yep. Like, they can still kill us here because they've got 2 mana floating. Okay, so our hand literally does nothing now. So we've just been mind twisted pretty much. It should be relatively elementary for our opponent to beat us now. Like, we can hit like run a land, but we don't have any of the disruption pieces we wanted. So if we hit like Ancient Tomb and cast a Sorcerer's Spyglass, that'll be alright. Dark Ritual from our opponent. Burning Wish. They got a Galvanic Relay. So we are getting a turn, but our hand doesn't do anything. So Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Bloodstained Mire, Mox Opal, Lion's Eye Diamond, Wishclaw Talisman. Okay, so we need to hit a land this turn, so we can make the Sorcerer's Spyglass. We did not hit a land. Sure. Yep, we had a really good hand, but we got Echo of Eons out of it. So we just F6 for our opponent's turn. They should be able to kill us this turn, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this should be super fine. So they're just playing out their things. Lotus Petal, played a land, cracking the land, Badlands. So they can play the Wishclaw Talisman out here. Okay, the Dark Rituals first, then the Wishclaw. And this can get them a Burning Wish and Peer into the Abyss, right? So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so they can Peer into the Abyss themselves, draw half their deck, and kill us. And there's nothing we can do because they mulliganed us on the play. A Brainstorm. That's not necessary. They have the win on board, as far as I'm concerned. I guess got to let them go through it. They might be needing to practice. The Burning Wish. Okay, they had it from hand, so... Oh, they didn't just crack the Lion's Eye Diamond. So that means they must have another Burning Wish. Or I guess now they can just Wishclaw for Burning Wish. Oh, they just got another Burning Wish in hand anyway. Sure. So now they crack these, and then they go and put tendrils on the stack aimed at our face. Okay, they didn't need to do the Appearance of the Abyss line because they already just had double Burning Wish in their hand, so that'll do it. Because this one up here is the exiled one from before. Sure, and we die. So if we're on the play, we win that game reasonable portion of the time, I would say. Like, I'd say 90% of the time we win with the double chalice on turn 1, but alas, we were not, so we didn't get to do that. Alright, let's go into round 2. We're on the play, which is where we want to be. This is our opening hand. So if this can dig us into a soul land, this is going to be pretty good. Otherwise, we're going to be a little bit behind. But we have so many soul lands to hit, I think we can keep this one. So let's cast a free spell. We did not hit a soul land. That's a bit awkward, isn't it? As we take the Spirit Guide here, play the Yavimaya, that gives our opponent less of an idea what we're doing, and the Cavern is probably more important if they're like some sort of wasteland deck that has counter magic in as well. This is basically a colourless land for us most of the time. Urza's Bauble, so we're playing against 8 casts most likely. And then a Mishra's Bauble, Brothers Together, Mox Opal, sure. So our opponent has access to 4 mana on turn 1, which kind of makes my stomping nonsense look a bit rubbish, doesn't it? What are they going to do with that, though? They could play a Kappa Cannoneer on turn 1. That'd be pretty bad. Just a thought cast, okay. So they could still play a Kappa Cannoneer on turn 1 if they've got another Mox or some more 0-drops. Just an Emery. That's not so bad. They get to rebuy this Lotus Petal and these Mox and these Baubles every turn, though. So we're in a bit of trouble here. Okay. I think this turn we cast this. And ELDRAZI, we make an uncounterable Terrible Man. And then next turn, We try and play this one out. So we could have played the Thought Not Seer out this turn, but I think we should just get the Mimic out now. So ideally we would like a land because we don't actually have the ability to play the colourless pip. Because if you take colourless mana off of Cavernous Souls, if you take colourless mana off Cavernous Souls, it's not uncounterable. And Thought Not Seer requires a colourless pip. So that's why I didn't play this one out this turn. I'd at least try. Because our opponent had a lot of mana last turn, and they didn't do anything that exciting. Okay, Lotus Petal. Interesting. Yep, cast a Lotus Petal. And a Thought Cast. So they're just digging into things. So the protection from artifacts could actually be quite useful off of the Tower of the Magistrate this game if we get it, because we can use it to give our guys sort of pseudo unblockable. A Moxo Pool. Sure. I thought much. Okay, so they've drawn 5 cards this turn so far. Meanwhile, we have a 2-mana 2/1. An island, a Shadow Spear, and they're cracking the ball. They've seen an Elvish Spirit Guide they already know about. Could do with a mana source here. Give us a land. It's a pretty good one. What are we most scared of here? I think we should just play out the Thought Not Seer. And next turn we can start putting Reality Smashers into play. What's our opponent got here? Kappa Cannoneer is the scariest thing our opponent has. We don't care about Force of Will or the Chalice, so take the Kappa Cannoneer. Pop of their revealed section. Yes, I would like my guy to be a 4/4. Let's go! I suspect this will... Oh, it's getting a chump block. That's interesting. I thought they would want to put the Shadow Spear on that creature. And at least sort of try and offset some of the damage. Urza Saga off the top's a pretty good one. When they start making these guys, they're going to be big. Okay, so they're doing it so they can just replay the Thought one. So yeah, that's very good. Probably should have seen that. But I'm not attacking there, right? The only way I win the game is by turning my guys sideways. Okay, so they've basically got an engine that involves my creatures attacking them, which is not where I want to be. But we're about to attack for 14 damage. Okay, they drew another Thought Monitor. Yikes. So our opponent has only got 34 cards left in their library, whereas I have 50. So this is kind of gross. This is definitely the higher end of what the 8 cast can do. And Eldrazi Temple. We don't want to cast this because we'll lose our Citra Trader, so we're just going to exile this. That's for 2. That's for one of those. Cast this one. So if we attack with the Thought Not Seer, they can double block. They'll take 10 if they do that though. And then I'll have 15 coming in the following turn. So I think that's okay with me. Because this one doesn't have trample, so they're encouraged to chump block this one. Sure. So taking 9, and next turn we have another 5/5 trampler. Right, let's see the damage that our opponent can do to us this turn. The Ancient Tomb's getting awfully precarious. We do have a Shadow Spear though. So they can make a Saga token and equip it. And it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with what's on board, and whatever they have in hand they want to commit will make it even bigger. So I think that's actually the best play, and it's going to be almost impossible for me to beat the 7/7 lifelink guy. Another Urza Saga. Yep, that's going to be a problem down the line if we get to that point, but I think we're probably going to win or lose the game before that becomes too relevant. Yep, okay, they finally moved. I think they've seen the line here. Make the big guy. Give the guy the Shadow Spear. Okay, they're getting back the Emery first. Ether Spell Bomb is a pretty good one. This is a spell, not spell or ability, so that's pretty bad for us. This is an interesting line they've taken though. Going for the Spell Bomb option instead of just making the big lifelink guy. Feels this way has more ways of going wrong for them. A Walking Ballista. Is that something we can use to get the final points of damage out? Possibly. But in order to do that, we need to kind of do it all in one go. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can have a Walking Ballista for 1. Is a Walking Ballista for 1 going to be relevant? So if we bounce this guy, They've still got 3 massive guys coming in. One of them's going to die to this. I don't think the walking ballista for 1 is going to make a difference here. I think we cast this guy with all of our mana. Okay, so we've got some 5/5s. While they don't have any lifelink, I think we just need to force through as much damage as we can. Oh, what we should have done is played the walking ballista, because then we can... Oh no, because this gives it trample anyway, so it doesn't matter. So they're bouncing them smasher. That gives them 6. So if they block other stuff, they'll lose their token here. Which is why I think the lifelink play is just better. Because they could have just had this guy be an 8/8 lifelinker. They can put it in front of this, and then chump over here. And this won't die when this dies. They'll take 4, but they'll gain 8. And then I'm going to be in a spot of trouble there. And then turn after they can start doing spellbomb things. Sure, so they're going for the trade on the reality smasher. No? Am I going to take 5 here? Nope. They've taken their blocks back. Just let it all through, that'd be fine. It'd do me nicely. So this loses their construct, which means they're basically in the same boat as last time, but they're going to have an inability to use the ancient tomb. So it really should block on all of them if they're going to block like this. There we go, they've worked it out. So these will trade, these 2 will die, and we have a 5/5 for next turn. And their board is clear, so they can't attack us with a lifelink guy this turn. They can do the thing they should have done last turn of make the construct, give it the shadow spear. So they've already got the shadow spear. I'm not sure what they're going to get out of the saga. Probably just another bauble, which will pump the construct size. Pythia doesn't seem amazing here. Okay, so there's a construct. They can float and get something, a mox. No, they're not doing that. Just I'm going to play a bauble. So obviously this construct is quite large right now. They still have their emery to use, so they can play their thought monitor if they so wish. Another Urza Saga. Yep. Well, they've seen the majority of their deck at this point in the game, whilst I've only seen 12 cards. Not bad for 12 cards versus 32 cards, right? Okay, that seems like an error to me. Unless they're getting the Lotus Petal to then put the Shadow Spear on something. Then that's fine. Okay, so they've finally made the right play. Now, how do we beat this? Is the question. We know our opponent has Force of Will, so Dismember is not a live draw. This Walking Ballista will just get countered. So we can play out a Reality Smasher. And then what? Is the question. They're just going to start bouncing our guys now. If we attack with everything, we're just running into roadblocks now. I don't think we can win this game. I think it's gone. I think we should concede and save time. Okay, so Ratchet Bomb is going to be good. It blows up their tokens. The Thorn of Amethyst on turn 1 will basically mean all their 1-drops don't do anything. Sorcerer's Spyglass is pretty nice for Emery. But I think I'd rather have Dismembers for Emery, because they're more flexible. So we're boarding in these, so I guess we have to take out the Once Upon a Times. And then we probably get rid of like our worst guys. So the Endless one is pretty bad. We cut 3 of those. I think is the Endless one better or worse than a Matter Reshaper? Like they're both kind of bad. So I have 2 Endless ones for like when I have more mana and I'm trying to do top end stuff, I reckon. I submit like this. I suspect I will lose. This is a good example of one of the reasons why ELDRAZI Stompy is not really in the meta anymore. It doesn't have the tools to fight against things like 8-cast, whereas all the other decks get to run like Kataki or Energy Flux, Energy Field, Energy Flux, the one that gives them Kataki ×2. Or Meltdown. Okay, so this hand is awkward. We can make turn 1 Thorn of Amethyst. But again, it's City of Traitors. Well, we're definitely keeping this hand, but the City of Traitors is really jamming us up. I think we just use a Spirit Guide to Cast this. Okay, so our opponent can't put loads of 0 drops into play now. This is going to be a little bit slower for us. But I don't think we can just play this and then play the Thought-Knot Seer and then not play another spell for the rest of the game. We need to keep our lands intact. See, we're a little bit slower here. But next turn we play Thought-Knot Seer. Unless we draw a different land. No, we're always playing the Thought-Knot Seer, but depending on if we play the City of Traitors or not depends on what we draw. Ideally, we could draw an Eye of Ugin, because that can technically give us 4 mana if we're playing 2 spells in one turn. Pithing Needle. What is this going to name? Tower of the Magistrate, perhaps. Wasteland. Okay, so they have an Urza Saga. Sure. Unfortunately, I'm not really in a situation where I can be Wasteland. Okay, so we're just going to cast Thought-Knot Seer into Thought-Knot Seer. Let's see what we find. Just a Force of Will. So our opponent is pretty all in on the triple Urza Saga hand, which is probably going to be good enough. But we'll see. We can give our guy protection from artifacts if we need to. Eye of Ugin is a pretty good one. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're 1 mana short of casting both of these in one turn. Right, so go to attacks. And then I think we just cast Thought-Knot Seer here. And I don't think we want to play the Eye of Ugin this turn. Sure, you can make a 3/3. So they can play the Seat of the Synod if they want to. Like, we're probably just going to lose to Urza Sagas here. Because this one card is apparently better than my whole deck. Which is not great. But again, we're giving you a good show of why this deck is no longer viable. So I'm nothing if not educational. So they got 6/6s now. So they are both bigger than my thing. So we're on Tower of the Magistrate is our plan here. The only problem is we have this Shadow Spear to contend with. Chalice of the Void. Is that going to cost us 1 mana to cast? This is difficult. We can double block 1 and give our guy protection. But then what is the real question, right? So I think we are incentivized to play this. So if we play this out, we're probably just holding up for the Tower of the Magistrate play. But that seems real bad because we know they've got more of these as sagas coming along. But I guess our plan is to draw into Ratchet Bomb, so we kind of just need to stay alive until then. Okay, so that's our plan. There's another Urza Saga. So they also have Ottawara as an option now, which is pretty mean. They should just be sticking on the Shadow Spear and swinging, I think. They had a triple Urza Saga hand against my double Thought-Knot Seer. So things have lined up very poorly for yours truly. We might be able to catch a break here. So that's our blockers. Then they're paying cost for something. Dismember. Sure. So my guy doesn't die here, but I take damage. And I lost my creature and they drew a card. So not great. So they didn't draw anything for the turn I thought season, but the turn after they drew it. Sometimes that's how Magic works. And sometimes it works in your favour and sometimes it doesn't. There's no point worrying about that. We kind of need to do the same play to survive, I think. Unless we just want to play out the big guy. So 1 mana off being able to cast the other one. So if we'd have played the Temple out this turn, we'd be able to activate our Tower of the Magistrate. That was an error. Oh dear. Yeah, so we are pretty much dead. So there's a saga for you. They did have the Pithing Needle from hand as well. So they just lined up really well with everything, against everything we're doing. We didn't get an opportunity to wasteland the Urza Saga ever. They didn't have a draw that really interacted with the hate pieces we had. They just haven't had 0 drops. They've just had non-stop sagas. Yikes. Okay, my opponents finally realised they need to attack with their massive creatures. Cool, because I didn't make the play last turn with the protection, I think I'm in a horrible situation of just letting this through and trying to draw Ratchet Bomb. not done a lot of stomping so far. Psi Master Thopterist. Sure, that's going to be very hard for my 4/4 to get through. Surprised they're not just making more tokens here. I feel it's probably just better if they make more tokens here. I suppose this does place slightly better around Ratchet Bomb. And does give them a guy that isn't... Yikes. So I can't cast this spell. I'm just dead. Alright. We'll scoop it up. So, a very poor showing from ELDRAZI, but I did say at the very start of the video that this deck isn't good. And this was more of like an educational tool to show you why it's not good, I guess. I was kind of hoping to stomp a few people, but we got some more rounds, so let's see how we do. We're on the play for round 3, which is good news. We have turn 1, Chalice of the Void for 1. Turn 2, Thought-Knot Seer. So I'm down to clown with this one. And we have an Ancient Tomb instead of a City of Traitors, which makes me happy. When I used to run ELDRAZI back in the day, I only ran 2 City of Traitors rather than the 3. Let's see. Chalice for 1, please. Is it good? Okay, we got Force of Will pitching Brainstorm. That doesn't tell us anything about our opponent's deck. It could be Delver, it could be a control deck, it could be a Lurin, who knows? A Wasteland. Cool, 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 cool. Not a massive fan of that. Ornithopter. Okay, our opponent is playing ninjas, maybe? Let me just play this out. X is 1. It can't block, but the pinging for 1 might become useful, and we can always put more counters on it later. So they can't ninja something in off this Ornithopter this turn, because all the ninja cards cost 2. Unless they're playing some sort of Chrome Mox line. This is counterable and can get hit by a Daze. But if it gets hit by a Daze and they're further away from ninjaing something in, feels like what's happening here. And next turn we can play 2 Matter Reshapers, which is pretty bad, but might be okay. This could just be a Brainstorm. Okay, it's just a Brainstorm to hide information. That's not so bad. So we can attack with our Walking Ballista this turn, and if they block, we get to kill their Ornithopter, so they can't put in any sort of ninja people and start making their engine actually work. But let's see what they've got in hand. What have you got for me? Snuff out straight away on the guy. A little bit rude. So this means I get to see the card that they draw. What is this? Human ninja enters the battlefield. If it's attacking, create a copy of another target attacking creature. Oh, they have 2 Yurikos, so it doesn't seem very useful to take the 2 Yurikos. We'll take the other guy. So we'll attack with our 1/1. If they block, we're always snapping this off to kill it. Nope. Okay, they did not fall for that. Alright, so next turn we make 2 Matter Reshapers, which can block the Yuriko, because it's just a 1/3. Yep, so they're going to put their Yuriko in this turn, and they get to draw a card with it. A Chrome Mox. That's alright for me, it means I don't take any additional damage. That card doesn't seem very good for where they are at this stage of the game. So, we're okay. I'm less inclined to ping this one off if they block this time, but it's important to get the information about what they're going to do. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Play this one out. And play this one out. And I say go. So their 1/3 can't really attack into our 2/3/2s. So they're going to need some removal spells. And these can draw me some cards. Might be draw me some nice fatties would be good. So this is going to put in a Yuriko. So they're going to sacrifice their own Yuriko. Yeah. And so they'll draw another card. A swamp. Okay, that's fine. And an Ornithopter. And there's a swamp we know about. Okay, so that was not really what we wanted. But it's not the worst, right? Our life total is getting a little bit precarious. I think we want to play this and activate this. I think we'll leave 1 back to block with. If they kill it, I can sometimes find something off of it anyway. And we can ping and kill the Ornithopter if we want to. But if they want to sacrifice their Eurocode to get another Eurocode, that's fine. If they've got the other ninja, the 2 mana, the one that comes in for 2 mana and draws you a card whenever a ninja deals combat damage, I can ping that one because it's saying 2-2. No, is it 2-2 or is it 2-3? It might be 2-3 actually. Might not be able to ping that one. But our opponent is quite far behind here because I've got some damage here. They're effectively on 4. And I've got the lands in play to make them effectively on 3, with 3/3/3s attacking them. So they can't really attack this turn unless they've got another creature. That's quite a bold one. Okay, so block here. Is there some weird ninja that I don't know about that's going to come and get me? Looks like it might be. Okay, what is this? This is the one they had before, right? Create a token, let's copy another target attacking creature. Okay, so they're going to copy their Eurocode. So they're going to get 1 Eurocode trigger, their other Eurocode is going to die. Again, they're just sort of cycling this guy back and forth, which doesn't feel too bad. Like, they're dead on board. So they need to play that. Okay, they were going for the try and hit you with enough damage off of these guys. They nearly got there, to be fair. We can't activate this though. Whenever a ninja. Okay, I didn't realize this was whenever any ninja. I should have pinged this off first. Okay, that was my mistake. I even played this ninjas deck the other day. Not this particular one, but I did play a ninjas deck the other day. Interesting. So our opponent probably needs to play. Well, they need a black card for the Chromox so they can use their Murderous Cut. Because if they can't use their Murderous Cut, I think they die here. Because they take 5, then this pings them twice. I don't think we need to do that. I think we just attack with everything here. Not sure what our opponent can have for 0 mana in this situation. Okay, nothing. Cool. So, ninjas. The Warping Whale hits all of the things they're trying to enable. The rest of it doesn't look great, to be honest. I think we're all right in this matchup, to be honest, from how my brain is taking it, because we just have bigger guys. Like Eldrazi Stompy is a deck from quite a few years ago now, really. But so is Ninjas, so we're kind of playing Legacy from way back when. Ninjutsu is an activated ability. I don't think we want to Sorcerer's Spyglass though. And I don't think we want a Ratchet Bomb. I think we just play like this. We got maximum removal. Like using Warping Whale on Ornithopters is a bit lame, but we can try it. I don't actually like this hand very much. I'm going to mulligan it. This is fine. It's a little bit shy of business, but I think we're probably getting rid of the. Yeah, it seems alright. Like they might be able to just get us with a thing on turn 2, and there's not much we can do about that. Does this change anything? I think it does. I think it means we can kill the Ornithopter this turn if we want to. I think we play this one out on Eldrazi. So I think my opponent's definitely not brought in. Wait, is this with power or toughness? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think my opponent's brought in anything like Force of Negation. I don't even think they should necessarily have Force of Wills in their deck at this point, but maybe. Okay, this could just be a Daze. Or it could be a Brainstorm to try and find an answer. This is just a tempo play for the most part. Okay, a Brainstorm. And the next turn we'd quite like to get our Chalice down, I think. It depends what happens with this play. Okay, so we exiled that. So if our opponent doesn't make a guy, then we're definitely in the mode to Chalice there. Ornithopter. I thought about Chalicing for 0, but didn't. And then we're going to get Wastelanded. Yeah. That's why I played that one out rather than the Temple, because the Temple gives us 2 mana, so it's just a better land. Okay, so we have a Thought-Knot here. We might be able to play next turn if things go our way. Like, I think on the play, we are incredibly favoured in this matchup, but on the draw, it's a little bit more even because they are quite a tempo-y deck. It depends how bad this Ornithopter thing is going to be. If it's just the guy that draws cards, rather than drawing cards and hitting us. Yeah, so this one is, yeah, it's a 2-3, there you go. So this just draws a card whenever a ninja deals combat damage. So it's not the end of the world. This is a good one for us. It's not uncounterable, which is a problem. But our opponent only has 4 cards in hand. So we can him to turret them maybe. Okay, yes. Okay, we can't let them get double Infiltrator on the go, I don't think. We're losing our ELDRAZI Mimic pretty sharpish though, which is fine. It's not ideal, but it'll do. And this doesn't have any evasion, so we just get to put our big boy in front of it. So this turn they make the Plague Engineer, which does have Death Touch, which is annoying, which is certainly another reason why the old ELDRAZI deck has fallen out of favour a little bit. Everyone's got these Death Touch creatures that kind of make your big guys that need to keep repeatedly hitting stuff and turn it basically becoming the Abyss. You don't get to do that anymore. So Flow Strand's gone. We know they have a Brainstorm in hand, so we'd quite like to cast that. The Walking Ballista is good, but not, I don't think for this turn. I think we can wait another turn here. I'll drop. And I think we use this mana to save ourselves some life. So goodbye Brainstorm in our opponent's hand. We're not attacking into the Plague Engineer. But next turn we can play our Walking Ballista. If we draw a City of Traitors, we can play it, kill their Plague Engineer, and still have a Walking Ballista hanging around. So that'd be quite nice. They might just swing with just a Plague Engineer here. Yeah, sure. It's an aggressive line, but I like it. A Wasteland. So we're probably losing... Yeah, that makes sense. This one hurts me, so... What have we got? A Wasteland. We go... Make this guy. I don't think we need to ping this off now. I think we're just in a little holding pattern where I've blanked a load of cards in their deck with my Chalice. And if I get to untap and put another counter on the Walking Ballista, I can kill the Plague Engineer without incident. Okay, a land, that's good. If they start attacking with the Ornithopter, that could make us want to ping it down. They should be attacking with the Ornithopter just to make us use the Walking Ballista tokens here. Yeah, okay. So I think we just let this hit us. And then if they put in something really scary, I guess it could be the Yuriko. Yeah, that's not too scary, is it? I think we have to take this though. So they're drawing 2 cards here, which is pretty good. Underground Sea, okay. And replaying the Ornithopter, sure. And another Ornithopter. So we know both the cards in their hand. So a bit of holding pattern again. This card is interesting. I think we just have to pass the turn though. Not being able to cast this without hitting myself with 4 is a real problem with Ancient Tomb in play. Let's see what comes in. So we have a choice here of whether or not we kill it with the Walking Ballista or we kill it with the Dismember. So we can put another counter on this now. Does hit us for 2. We were going to take 2 anyway from this guy. We can ping this down. Blocking it means that they can't use the they can't boop it out if they have a ninja in hand. They probably attack with an Ornithopter if they have a ninja in hand, but need to draw that Yavimaya at this rate. Okay, we're in a pretty horrible position here. Our opponent is obviously drawing cards because they don't have anything going on right now either. So they need something, but so do we. But we have half of our mana base hurts us. Feels like they might have had the 1-drop changeling there, which is unblockable, so I really don't want that to be on the board. I can ping it down with the Ballista. But... Okay, is it worth my time putting a counter going to... I think it is. I think we need to have our Ballista bigger. And ELDRAZI Temple. That doesn't quite do what we need it to do. We still have to use our Ancient Tomb if we want this. We still can't attack. So we're in a horrible holding pattern. We just got to hope that our opponent doesn't draw something good before we do. Another land on our opponent's side, that's fine. A plague engineer. Sure. Probably naming Eldrazi again. I could name construct. Yeah, let's name the construct. That's interesting. So if we dismember this, that's it for our life total. So we can make a 4/4 here. Or we can make a 3/3. I think if we make a 3/3 on this board, that's fine, and it lets us hold up the wasteland as well as the dismember. It's not very exciting. I don't think we can attack. I think we attack with our endless one when the time comes. So what we can do is if they attack with a plague engineer and something else, we can put this in front of this something else and then hit the plague engineer to buff this into a 2/2. That's probably not going to do anything just yet, is it? Yavimai would be nice there. It means we can just start stacking counters on this by tapping our Ancient Tombs. Okay. This is interesting. So we go to blocks here. 4/4 goes onto this. This goes onto this. This goes onto this. We see what our opponent does, because they have priority first. We'll just do... They want to make another one of those ninjas. I can't dismember here. I can dismember to kill this. And then I can ping this. Yikes. Okay. I think we target this. And then we ping this onto this guy. And these trade. And then we're kind of back to where we were. But I'm on 1 life this time. Okay, the wasteland can hit one of my lands that... Yep, that's a pretty good one. Another Ornithopter. An Eye of Ugin. I think we play this one. I have to say go. If they have any ninja, we lose the game. But that's just the nature of the beast. We've drawn a lot of mana sources here. Uh-oh. Consign. Yep, that'll do. Let's go to the next game. Is this Warping Whale actually any good? We're better off with Ratchet Bombs, maybe? That seems like a better plan. I think we submit like this. The thing about lands that tap for 2 mana is they have drawbacks. Alright, so we're on the play, so I'm quite happy about being on the play here. We can keep this. We have Once Upon a Time. Eldrazi Mimic into something good. I think we keep this. Cast for free. Eldrazi Temple and triple Thought-Knots. I think we actually need the Eldrazi Temple here. That just makes this whole sequence of plays a lot smoother. Now they can force-will this and then wasteland us. But if they wasteland us now, then they have this guy to contend with. Like, it's not a great clock, but it means they're going to be a little bit behind. Ornithopter. Ornithopter. Okay. They don't really want 2 of those. Okay, so this doesn't really put them ahead because their guys are bad. So now we're in this awkward City of Traitors bind here, where we can make another Eldrazi Mimic, and next turn make them 3/3s, or we can just make this one now an Eldrazi and have better future turns. Which I think is the play here. We can't basically wasteland ourselves for free when they've already wastelanded us. Okay, so they've kind of drawn all the little rubbish men. Chalice of the Void, you're a little bit late. So we can either play out a 3/3 here, or we can play out another Mimic so that our Reality Smasher is huge if we get to drop it next turn. Quite like that. Just can't block and can't be blocked. So, is it worth chalicing for 0 to stop these Ornithopters? I think so. So they're going to get one of their guys in if they have a blue mana, but if they do that, then we have a chance of playing a Reality Smasher and bashing them for 15 next turn. And they're incentivized to bounce the Outcast rather than the Ornithopters, but they got 2 Ornithopters and they're not great creatures. So. Okay. Just the 1 damage. Oh, okay. They didn't have a follow-up land. Oh, okay. That's super bad for them. Okay, I guess we go to attacks. They don't need to chump block now. Oh, no, we want to make these uncounterable. And that's our turn. That's our opponent's turn. Looks like they've missed on land drop again and they're just pecking us for 1. This is exactly where we want to be, I suppose. City of Traitors. This might just get a concession on the spot, to be honest. It's pretty good. I'm attacking... Yeah, I'm attacking for 20 that turn. They block, they take 10, and then I have enough guys. So our opponent's hand was a weird one. I don't know why he would keep a hand without blue mana. Especially since they didn't have like snuff outs or anything to go with whatever they were doing. So we managed to get a win on the board. Basically, we're both playing decks from a few years ago. So they're similar power levels, more or less. All right, on to the 4th round. So this hand makes a Mimic into Thoughtless there, so we keep this. Monastery Swift Spear. Okay. Our opponent is on burn, most likely. So I think we outrace burn, but we do have Ancient Tombs, which is not really where we want to be. And these Dismembers, so play this one out. Cast. These guys are probably not getting counted. We got Lava Spike, Price of Progress. Okay. Price of Progress is not something we want our opponent to have. So they got a lot of lands there. So even with hitting ourselves twice with Ancient Tomb, we're about the same on the clock. Lava Spike. Sure. I don't think I can block this. I don't think I can race them if I give up my Thought-Knot here. Sure. So we're going pretty low now. But our opponent has no business spells in hand. Once Upon a Time is not what we wanted. We can play out a Matter Reshaper and go to 4. Yikes. I think we just have to do that. Dead to Fire Blast. But we attack for 7 this turn. And then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 next turn. So we have exactly lethal if our opponent can't kill us this turn. It's one of the Fiery Islets. And they're drawing a card. So they have a Lightning Bolt, they can hit the Matter Reshaper and then get in for 2. And I can only come back for 6 unless I draw a guy. But I might be able to cast a guy because my Ancient Tomb's going to be shut off. So, an interesting one. The Lightning Bolt. It is on the Matter Reshaper. So I'll do in that exact play. Let's see if we hit something good. It was a Reality Smasher. That probably doesn't do it here. Is there anything we can draw here? An Eldrazi Temple. So this gives us 4 mana. Now our opponent might brick this turn. That is a possibility. So I think we attack in with this. The issue is we play Eldrazi Temple, we lose our City of Traitors, and that's kind of what we're relying on mana-wise. I think we're just dead. Like our opponent can brick for 1 or 2 turns in a row, and that is enough. Price of Progress. That'll do it. Sure. So how do we beat Burn? The Warping Well can kill one of their guys. The Ratchet Bomb, like, I think it's just having a Chalice of the Void hand is probably how we beat Burn, right? Thorn of the Amethyst slows them down a lot. And it's probably better than the Dismembers because I don't think I can afford to pay the life. So we can probably have 3 of these in. Is the 4th one going to be better than a Once Upon a Time? Maybe. Yeah, let's try that. So this hand doesn't really have any mana to go anywhere, so I think we have to mulligan this one. This hand has a lot of things I want in it, so I'm going to keep it. And what are we going to put back? I think we just get rid of the Elvish Spirit Guide here. Because if we can play a Chalice on 1 and a Chalice on 2, I think we just win the game. They have to Fire Blast us to death then. Which is not easy to do. So they can smash to smithereens this. But they need to get 2 mana. So if I can draw another Soul Land, then I can just immediately play the chalice for 2. And then we don't have to worry about that anymore. We didn't draw the thing. But we can make a 4-4. Currently 4. Sure, done. Excellent. If they do smash the smithereens our chalice, we can just play another one. But next turn what we want to do is... Okay, they're just scooping to the chalice. That's a pretty good assessment of how the game plan in this matchup, so I think we submit and go again. We have the chalice, but there's no mana here behind this hand, so we have to mulligan it. This one has a thorn, which is less good. But I think we can keep this one. What goes back here? Probably the Spirit Guide. Let's see how we go. They got a 1-drop guy. They do have a 1-drop guy. So to preserve our life total... Oh, this is an awkward one. I was going to say to preserve our life total, we could play City of Traitors first. But now we have the Ancient Tomb. I think this will hit us for 4 life, though. That's quite a lot. Maybe we do just play the City this turn and then Thought Not Sir next turn. This might not be good enough. But I think we probably... The 4-4 should roadblock the Monastery Swift Spear. If they're paying 2 mana for 3 damage every turn, that's fine. Goblin Guide, that's awkward. Riftbolt entered the exile zone. So they're going to have to pay mana for that when it resolves next turn. So we're just going to take 3 this turn. Are we going to draw a card? We are, a Cavern of Souls, okay. That makes the next turns slightly easier, I think. So, activate this, play this. That's fine. 2 mana, play this guy out. And we get to see our opponent's hand, what they're working with. Searing Blood. Exquisite Firecraft is 4 damage, isn't it? But they'll have to spend 4 mana to cast that. So... I think we're okay. Searing Blood is probably one of the scarier things here, weirdly. Because it allows them to trade with my guy for 3 mana instead of 4. So I think we take this. Leave their hand popped out here. So our opponent only gets to cast 1 spell and can't attack me next turn. Oh, they can attack me, but they'll have to lose one of their guys if they attack me. This is going to be a relatively close game, I think. Let's see what our opponent does here. So they're paying the Riftbolt. They're targeting our Thought Not Seer with it. Interesting. That's fine. That saves me 3 damage. Now they can attack with both creatures. Yeah. So I take 2 here instead of 3 because they bolted this. Because I don't think I should block with the guy. ELDRAZI Temple. That's a good one. I don't think we're blocking here. So this turn, we have ELDRAZI Temple again. Cast this guy. So this guy, we're perfectly happy to throw this guy under the bus. Which means we can attack for 4 this turn, because we do need to finish our opponent at some point. We can't just hold back forever. And the 4 damage we'd have lost to Ancient Tomb really would have cost us at this point, I think. So next turn we can attack for 9. So... what have we got here? So drew a Searing Blood. That's pretty good. Hopefully this will flip us into another Matter Reshaper. I love it when that happens. An Eye of Ugin. We put it into play. It's not really the best, but it's okay. It does mean we get to field both of these next turn. But we're taking... what is this? 4 this turn. We know both our opponent's cards. We probably can puzzle our way around this one. Okay, so our opponent has Exquisite Firecraft in hand, which can deal us 4 damage. So if they draw a land, they can point 4 damage, then either of these creatures are lethal. So this taps for 2 mana, so this is the better land to play here. So this costs 3 mana, this costs 1 mana. So if we go 2, 4, we can cast this one. And then we can cast this one. And then I think what we do is we play this out where X is 1. And then we can chump block with it. And this lets us attack for... Yeah, this lets us attack for 9 this turn. Now, if our opponent draws a land, they can cast Firebolt. If they don't draw a land, it's going to cost them 2 mana for a Lightning Bolt. So basically, if they draw a 1 mana creature, they kill us, actually. Is that right? This is a tight one. Probably the most exciting and thrilling game that we've played all league, actually. This is bad for us. Are we dead here? The lightning bolt goes to our face. Yeah, I think we die here, right? The one thing we didn't play around. Yeah, so this turn they have the lightning bolt in hand. Oh. Just one of the creatures. Yeah, they had a really creature-heavy draw into our Thorn of the Amethyst here. Yeah, that was a close game. Like, if I play around that by leaving my 4/4 back, I hit them for 5 this turn, and then so they'd be on 4, they'd be on 11. So I might not be able to get them. Oh, that was a really tight one. Yeah. Close. Alright, one more round. Okay, so this opening hand isn't very good. We're kind of relying on this to have land. I think actually this really needs to hit us a land. And then we probably want to hit one in one of our couple of draw steps. But if we do, then I think we're okay. So I think we keep this one. Reluctantly. Once upon a time from our opponent. What are they playing? Could be elves, could be Cloudpost, Allosaurus Shepherd. Could be like the Fiend Artisan, elves. Yep, so this is probably just casting the Allosaurus Shepherd straight up. Sure. Oh no, Lamar Elves. Cast that opponent's end step. Found the land, and it was a soul land, sort of. Okay, so I think we should just play this guy out. And then next turn, depending on what we draw, we can play out another one and dismember. The Walking Ballista here could be very good if we can get a bit more mana to put behind it, because a lot of their guys are going to be 1/1s. The Llanowar Elves makes me think that our opponent is probably on the Fiend Artisan Elves. Elvish Mystic as well. Wowzers. Interesting. Okay, yeah, so we're just playing this out in Eldrazi. Casting this guy. And I think we have to dismember this guy now. Because if they drop a Cradle, they can absolutely bop us. I think we're about even, I would say, in this game. But if I don't draw a land, then I'm... Yeah, so there's a Cradle. So they can still natural order now. Which is going to be bad for us. Use the Ratchet Bomb's going to look nice here. Okay, so what is this going to be? A Crater Hoof? Or have they got some other... Yeah, so they're just going for a big chunk of damage this turn. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So this is lethal damage. So we have to block. So we can soak up 1 point of damage. I think that's what we have to do. And go to 1. Not great. Okay, so we're not dead. We're not dead on board, I should say. So what this can do is, this can block and then ping because they don't have trample anymore. So I can kill their 2/1/1s and chump block their Crater Hoof, but then I'm in chump block town for the rest of the game, I think. Have they just got another one? No, it was just hard casting Spirit Guides. Well, that's pretty good when I'm on 1, to be honest. This box here. This box here. Let's kill this. Buys us a turn. We kill their guy. Ancient Tomb. Let's tap and go on my own terms. Sure. So that was pretty decisive. Ratchet Bomb is probably going to be good here. The All Is Dust might actually have some play. The Warping Whale kills a lot of their creatures. And we're probably trimming these Once Upon a Times. And then we've got 2 more cuts probably here. So we can maybe just get out some of the worst creatures in this matchup. I don't really like the Eldrazi Mimic that much in this matchup, to be honest. So we'll shave one of those and we'll shave a Reshaper, I think. Do you want to shave the Reshaper? Yeah, okay. We'll go like this. We got more removal here. Let's see how we go. We're not bringing in Spyglass for Allosaurus Shepherd. I don't think that's worth doing. It's such a low impact card on many of the boards. This is a pretty ugly hand, I think. I think we should mulligan it. This hand is good. We can keep this one. What goes back here? I think we probably send back the Endless one. So done. And we don't want to spoil the surprise of what's coming with the Ratchet Bomb here. So we do need to bolster up a turn though, don't we? Maybe we do just play out the Ratchet Bomb now. This will give us a... So our opponent won't want to commit too many things to the board now, and if we draw a Chalice, we can kind of lock that side up as well. But they have to kind of play 1-drops. Okay, there's a 1-drop. This is more like an Eldrazi hand. Let's see what they've got, and that'll let me decide what if I want to crack the bomb just for this guy. So we have Reclaimer. So we have another Reclaimer. We have the Zenith is probably the thing that we most want to get rid of here. I think let's just get rid of the Zenith. We'll leave it popped out. We don't need to attack this turn. So we get to play both of our remaining Eldrazi's next turn, which should be sufficient to get the damage in, I think. Oh, that's really tempting to play as well. So if we tap this for 2, and we tap this for green, tap this for green, and cast this for 1, 2, 3 mana. We can cast this for 1 mana. And we attack with all creatures. Sure. What are they going to get here? Is it a Cradle? Sure. So that encourages them to play more creatures out, but they don't necessarily want to do that. Dried Up we knew about. So this could be Elvish Reclaimer into Elvish Visionary, which if that is the case, then we kill them. Because you sweep all these blockers away. Oh, okay, they're doing that and the Visionary. They're just playing out the whole hand into the Ratchet Bomb. Okay, I see. So this is only a 1/1 for now. So if I kill this and then pop the Ratchet Bomb, then we can just come in. The idea is that if all these die, they have one big guy. But they don't know about my trick. Oh, wowzers. Wowzers trousers. How much mana is this? This is 4. So this costs 3, this costs 2. So we can't do all of that. We'll just exile this guy. Warping Whale. Winning me a game. Oh, this is interesting. They're forcing me into the Vigor here. Like, we definitely crack this though. It means that my Warping Whale is going to fizzle because this guy's going to be bigger. But we attack with just a 5/5 this turn, I think. They can just take the 5 here. And then they can use their Dried Arbor to tutor for something next turn. Which is probably what they're going to do. But next turn we try an Alpha Strike with our additional Reality Smasher. Like if they're tapping all their guys down, they've got less blockers. So I don't know if they're in a great situation trying to... Okay, if they're Once Upon a Time, then I think they are probably not going to get... Okay, they can play another Fiend Artisan here. But that's not going to do anything to my second Reality Smasher. Smash those realities. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, so we got that one. So we're going to the final game. Do I want these just to hose their Fiend Artisans? No. I think we can just build up to all his dust. We still have the Dismembers for the Fiend Artisans. We cannot keep this hand. This has the Ratchet Bomb, it has the Warping Whale, doesn't really have much else. I think we can keep this though. And something has to go. It's probably the Wasteland here. Like our plan is to kill all their guys rather than kill the Cradle. Because they're always going to get an activation of Cradle. Findhorn elves. Have they got all the mana elves? Maybe they've just got a mixture of them for reasons. I think we just play out the Ratchet Bomb again. We could have something like a Reclamation Sage. Seems very unlikely though. Although they are a toolbox deck, so maybe. They get in the red zone with the Findhorn elves. Love it. Love to see it. Charge up my bomb. Play something, name ELDRAZI. Take a smash in the face from this. So yeah, I don't think we're going to win or lose this game by small amounts. I think it's going to be pretty decisive one way or the other. Okay, so we have this member that we can use on something. 3, 4. Natural order. I guess. What's this going to be? Progenitus. Can we beat Progenitus? This is going to take a long time to get up to 10. I think we are just dead. Let's take one more draw step and then call it a day, I think. Protection from everything is a lot. So if we'd have... Yeah, we could have removed their guys to stop that from happening. Yeah. No. Alright. So there we go. That was a failure. So what did we go? 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 0, 2, 1, 2. So we did get a lot of game 3s. Let's have a look at the deck, shall we? So we got a lot of game 3s in that. And like with the burn matchup, they had to draw a haste creature on that last turn to win, otherwise we win. And that elf matchup felt a little bit unfortunate on that last one. When I played elves, Progenitus was so bad for me. It's something that I blocked out of my mind as an option they have, but obviously it was very good there. So I should have been killing their creatures. There's definitely a misplay for me there slightly that could have kept me in the game for a bit longer. Whether or not it'd be long enough to keep them at bay until they can Progenitus, I don't know. So what do I think of the deck? I think the deck is bad, truth be told. I think the format has advanced so much since this was a good deck. Like this used to be like I used to take this to tournaments and get prizes with it every time I took it to tournaments, in fact. It was just, you know, it used to be a really good deck. You're playing creatures that are bigger than other people's on curve. People can't clock you as quickly back then, but now everyone's got all these like much more powerful threats. So like turn 1 Elvish Reclaimer is a lot more threatening than a turn 1 Eldrazi Mimic, even though it's half the price, because you know it can find all sorts of tools and it can really mess you up. Delver is now much stronger because of Dragon's Rage Channeler, so that's an issue. And then things like 8-cast or just any decks with Urza Saga means that they can, if you don't have your Wasteland, they can put down creatures that are just as good as your Eldrazi without having a mana base that's really awkward. So you can just, you know, you can have your constructs and just go to town with them instead. And I think, you know, the good creatures in Eldrazi are still good. Like Thought-Knot Seer and Reality Smasher are both fine creatures. And they do a lot of work and they're great. The filler creatures like the Mimic and the Reshaper and the Endless One, I think the power level of the format is now so much higher that you can't afford to have a deck with these sort of middling little creatures in. Like they don't really impact the board and they're not the most effective beaters. And like if you look at the red Stompy deck, they're making like turn 1 or turn 2 Rabblemaster, which is clocking a relatively similar speed to what we're doing on average with the Eldrazi, except they've got a much more stable mana base, they've got better prison elements, and they've got Fury, which is just another card that is there to put Eldrazi in the ground, because it can just come in and just smash out a Thought-Knot Seer or whatever, and it's big enough to tangle with other things. And people are playing Fable the Mirror Breaker, so they get things out quicker. It just feels like there's not the stuff there. Like this deck, I used to play this deck against like Miracles back in the day. And it was very good against Miracles, to be honest, because your things would be uncounterable. They wouldn't really mess with your land. And like their removal spells on things like Reality Smasher went great, and you had the time to sometimes even activate your Eye of Ugin. I did used to run a slightly different list back then with more land, and I also didn't have this Tower of the Magistrate. I used to have a basic land in my deck, a Wastes, and I used to have an Urborg as well. And sometimes Mistress Factory, and sometimes Umezawa's Jitte, but Umezawa's Jitte isn't as good as it once was. It's still a fine card, don't get me wrong, but I think the power level of everything has crept up so much that what this deck is doing is just so outdated. So it's a shame. I really enjoyed playing Eldrazi back in the day, but I think, as we've quite clearly demonstrated in this league, it's just not really up to scratch with what things are doing. Even when we were playing, so the deck we beat was Ninjas, which is a deck from years ago as well, more or less. It has had some new upgrades, but the power level of what it's doing, I think, is from a few years back. And the Burn matchup, which we got very close to winning, that's a deck that's been around for ages. And we were sort of like 50-50 on winning that one on the last draw. Or, well, less than 50-50. They had like, six cards that they draw that win them the game. And then everything else they draw loses them the game that turn. So I think, I was okay with my decision there to lose to that. But because I think if we get in a situation where they're just drawing burn spells and blocking, we lose that. So I think I was right to go in as I did. But like, we had quite a few games that could have gone a bit better, and we did hurt ourselves a lot with the mana base. So the record was a 1-4, which is obviously abysmal. I think a 2-3 would probably be a more realistic look at where this deck is positioned in the meta. Like, we were quite close. We took a lot of games off people, but I just don't think this is a deck, like, the amount of bad matchups you'd have to dodge to do well with this deck and how well you'd have to draw. I just don't think it's viable. Now, that's not to say there isn't some sort of Eldrazi deck that is out there, because there used to be the Eldrazi Displacer deck. There was a white deck that ran some Eldrazi stuff, so it wasn't hurting itself with City of Traitors, for example. And it had all this cool flicker synergy, so it was a bit like how like Death and Taxes and the Aether Vial decks are at the moment, where they just have lots of come into play effects, and then they use Eldrazi Displacer to flicker them. And you also have the combo of Containment Priest or Eldrazi Displacer, which allows you to just phase out your opponent's permanence, permanently. So I think if you want to play Eldrazi, there's probably a white version that is better than this, that has a more stable mana base, a safer mana base, and just has better cards for what the format is now. I'm not even sure, like, Chalice of the Void isn't the big sledgehammer that it used to be. A lot of people can answer it now. Like Delver, it's pretty good against Delver, but they can still smash down a Murktide around it, and that's going to be bigger than everything we're doing. So how are we going to beat a Murktide? It's just going to be bigger than us. It's just going to swallow up our creatures. I used to run Endbringer as like a way of dealing with things that are a bit bigger, because it lets you like stop things from attacking and blocking, and it also pings, so it kind of gives you another way of getting the last bits of damage in, as well as just being a beefy body. But maybe I'll have a little look at some white Eldrazi builds and see if I can find something. The only problem is the regular white Stompy deck that exists now, that's coming to Magic Online in a few days actually, once the next update comes in, is with like White Plume Adventurer and the Seasoned Dungeoneer and stuff like that. That white Stompy deck is probably just better than Eldrazi, because things like the Initiative is just much stronger than what we're doing here. Like Thought-Knot Seer is great, and some of the Stompy decks still run that, and that makes sense. But like trying to play Tribal Eldrazi is not going to work until we get more Eldrazi, which I'm not sure is a thing that we can rely on happening. And if we do get Eldrazi, we'll probably just get some of the big ones rather than ones to help this deck out, which is a shame. I quite like a little bit of Tribal Stompy here and there. But this is not a deck you should play at the moment, and I don't think it's ever going to be coming back unless we get some ridiculous new printings. So that's it for today. Sorry it was a bit of a downer, but you can't win them all. And I think it was very educational and informative today. We showed sort of the reasons why this deck doesn't work. So it may have cost me a few play points here, but I think it was a good piece of content for people to understand how things fit into the meta, why things don't work. All right, So if you're still here and listening to me rambling on, then why haven't you hit the subscribe button? It doesn't cost you anything and it really helps me out. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. All right, I think we're done here. So thank you for watching and goodbye.